Yep, I am.
Tom, I don't know if you saw it. I'm sure you didn't, quite frankly, because you're busy, but I thought ESPN kind of took a cheap shot at the Big Ten after your loss yesterday and said that that loss proved the Big Ten was a mess. And, I mean, just to me, is the Big Ten just a whipping boy?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's, if you ask me, there's reasons, and I kind of, when I get frustrated with you guys, I look at this whole thing right now, and if you follow the Alonzo Ball stuff, and I mean it is getting out of hand, and so I'm surprised that Ohio State and Michigan weren't ranked, to be honest with you. I think both of them deserve to be ranked, but that's all part of it too. Purdue did move up, which they deserve to, but every conference has the same issues. Everybody plays different people. I'll guarantee you, I mean, Minnesota's in a little bit of trouble if that continues with two great players out. I mean, they're in a little bit of trouble, but we've had some injuries in this league, and Northwestern's a team that's had some, and Iowa's a team that's had some. But I don't know why that would make it that way. We've beaten a lot of teams that were ranked high, because Notre Dame loses their best player, and they lose their two best players, and they go to Syracuse and win. I'm not going to apologize to ESPN or anybody else, to be very honest with you. I'm just going to keep doing my job because I didn't do it very good yesterday. I'll do a better job today, tomorrow, the next day.
A day to kind of digest things. Anything differently you feel?
Yeah, no, I don't feel any different. I feel like what I evaluated yesterday was true. It was a complete kind of breakdown that we didn't play very well the first half. They didn't play great the first half, and it's a tie game. And then, when everything exploded in that last minute and a half, things happened. I am 100% feel good about the reason I got the technical. I just should be more mature and not get one there. But the call, I should have got two. I was worthy of getting two, and I didn't, so I'm a little disappointed in myself in that respect.
In football, they'll take film and send it into the office to have review. Do you show that sequence where this was a foul on one end but not on the other? Do you do it, or at this point do you just not even worry about it?
That's a good question. I've had a thing here for 23 years where I send nothing in, because for the most part, if I have a problem with an official, I call him. I don't go through second and third parties, because nobody understands it, nobody sees it the same way, and nobody understands how it can affect the game. But no, I don't. I think I might have sent two things in 23 years. It was one thing Judd let me know, and it's kind of funny too, because I was talking to Gene Cady when he's come back, Judd's thing, and this was a couple weeks ago, and he asked me if I sent anything, because I heard he used to have his managers run it up after the game into Chicago on beta and DVD back then, or VHS. And I said, I just don't do it. I said, did it get you any good? He goes, well, hell no. And I said, well, then why DWW, don't waste time, or DWT, don't waste time.
That's it. I mean, we forgot to ask you about Ted situation. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I know very little, but I personally, I watched it, and I look at a couple of things. If it was so bad, Roy would have been a lot more upset than he was, because there was no reaction from him, and I've heard nothing from him. If you looked at the play like I did, it was kind of a strange play, the ball went out of bounds. Did a guy get fouled? I'm sorry. Maybe. But, he's running this way, and that's probably somebody else's call. And then player was upset and banged the ball down. And I looked at him doing what he does to me if he doesn't want to give me a tee. Kind of turns around and walks away. And I thought, I'm friends with Ted, and I know what kind of play caller he is, and I know what kind of referee he is. Now, does he, people will say I'm theatrical, he's theatrical, or whatever. But I didn't think it was, I think my number one issue would have been if Roy Williams, who's been in it forever, didn't have a major problem with it, then I didn't have a major problem.
When we tell fans, though, that you love having Ted ref your games, which you've told us that, they don't believe us. So I'm asking you point blank, do you not like him as a referee?
Well, I shouldn't even answer that question because it'll get me in no but trouble, but I do. I think he's fine. I think he's one of the best play callers in the business. You know, I just think he's, you know, does he get carried away with the things? You know, this is what I do appreciate about the good officials. Anybody who's passionate about something has a tendency to make a fool of himself sooner or later. And you're pointing a lot of cameras at a guy that's really good at doing that once in a while. So, but I'm very passionate about what I do. And so I know this, there's not many times when there's any people like him and the good officials are out of position, never afraid to make a call, either by the coach that they're reffing for or the fans that they're going against. Never afraid. That's him. So I appreciate that.
Tom, in terms
How do you make sense of some of the Rutgers' recent results since you played them, with beating Seton Hall or losing some of the games that they did?
You know, I was asked by somebody after the game about the state. Is this the norm for the country right now, that there's been a lot of bizarre things that have happened, as evident by the 15 ranked teams that lost, and what, 2/3 of them? Where's my, I don't know where Matt is.
15 ranked losses over the weekend.
Yeah, but how many to unranked? How many unranked that got beat? Like 10, 12?
Well, I would say most.
Most of them, you know, against unranked teams. So because of that, it's different. But I say it's kind of the new normal because of all the young guys on a lot of teams. A lot of the teams that aren't quite ranked as high are usually the teams that have more 4- and 5-year seniors, the way it seems nowadays. And so I think that's going to become a little bit of the new normal, that some of those things are going to happen. No excuse, just a fact.
Tom, in terms of bouncing back, you get the Rutgers team that you didn't exactly play great against the first time, and then Michigan on the weekend is almost kind of set up well in terms of forcing the focus from these guys.
You know, I honestly, I don't think it was a lack of focus and preparation. I think it was, for a better choice of words, you know, do you get there? And one of my players told me something interesting that Jaron said. He said, is it like this everywhere you go? You know, you kind of forget where he played in high school and what he went through. And the answer is, yeah, you know, this is the way it's like in the Big Ten. And I think that's what people struggle with, too. I've said this a lot, that the worst team you play in the Big Ten is a much tougher game than some of the better teams you play in the non-conference. And it's just because of the facilities, the crowds, and everything else.
And it's hard to get those kind of atmospheres on the road when teams won't play you home and home and you have to play neutral, isn't it?
That's what I dislike about the scheduling is I wish you guys knew how hard it is, and I wish you knew how difficult it is to play home and homes. Because I'd much rather play home and homes. Much rather play home and homes. I'm not a big neutral site guy, you know. There's other guys that much rather play neutral sites. To each his own, but you know, and I looked at it, is it because we didn't play a road game, as some of you guys think? And you know, we played Rutgers out there, and you know, but would you rather play in some of the big games we played in? You know, because I can't do everything. I can't play in the Tournament of Champions, the Thanksgiving Day tournament, and wait till next year when you add 2 more Big Ten games, when you add the Gavitt games. You know, that's 23 games that I have no control of any of them. 23. Then you add the 4 games now of the Thanksgiving tournament, which I don't know who I'm playing in there because it changes like it did this year. That's 27 out of 31 games that are already earmarked. And I think...
next year too, don't you?
Huh?
Yeah, Florida next year.
Well, now we do, yeah, but we had Florida this year. And I would have played that game,
Oh, yeah.
except the Big Ten. So, you know, we have problems that I think the hardest thing about being a media member or fan is we don't have time to give you all the information, but it's a lot more difficult than you would think to do some of these things. And so it is what it is.
You're a big respect guy, and it matters to you that people are respectful of your program and what you've done. And I don't want to talk about the Michigan game, but Mark D'Antonio has one of his biggest recruiting weekends in probably a year. And Saturday, he's got a ton of guys that he's recruiting against Jim Harbaugh with coming for that. What's that tell you? And how did you appreciate the respect he shows your program that he wants them here to see you on that day?
Well, I think it's mutual respect. I think he knows what our fans are like on that game. But you're right, especially today. I would be more than happy to address that on Thursday. How's that? Is that fair?
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Miles said he took the drive away from himself yesterday and wasn't very aggressive. Is there anything you need to do to get him going more than?
No, I just talked to him. I mean, he feels worse than anybody. He just uncharacteristically stood around, you know. And like I said, there were a lot of things that happened last night, early in that game, with some key people that were just didn't respond to things that have never been like that. And it was good guys, too, that have been practicing well. And so, you know, I don't have any magic wand that I can tell you exactly why I knew. I mean, we did talk about it today. We had a little academic meeting and talked about it. But I can't tell you why. I can just use the thought that I said way before the game. I've said it for 2 weeks, you know. Was concerned on whether our players, you know, they could handle the play, but whether they could handle all the fall-to-roll. And I think we proved that we didn't handle it very well. What can I do about it? I don't know, you know, maybe I'll bring more noise crowds in, or maybe I'll bring some of you guys in, the referees, so it gets really ugly. And then, you know, do whatever I can do to try to change that. But in all honesty, it's not something that I'm worried about at all, because we've played in 17 games. I'd say we played 15 of them pretty well, you know, pretty solid in what we wanted to get done. Did not think we played great at Rutgers, and I did not think we played great last night. And I didn't think they played great the first half. I give them credit. They really came on at the end and played better the second half.
I know you said yesterday after, you know, that your learning year was last year, but some of the guys today were like, yeah, we can definitely look at this and learn and move on from it. How much do you think that, because you kind of talked about all the factors that went into it, but how much does this team kind of maybe need a reminder that they still have a ways to go and can still get better and learn? And
you know, I swear to you, this is the one thing I will tell you. When I say there's no egos, nobody went into that game thinking we don't have to play. They didn't think that about their practice. They don't think they're better than they are. Everybody needs a kick in the butt once in a while. Sometimes it comes from a coach. Sometimes it comes through embarrassment. You know, that's everybody. I mean, there's no question. I'm going to work a little harder today than I did last week. And that doesn't mean I think I work hard every day. But these next couple of days, I'm going to work harder because things didn't go right. And I think they're going to look at things a little harder. And so that's not always a negative. You know, I mean, I don't mean to make fun of it. And I got to make fun of something today because it hasn't been a very good day for me. But, you know, when I get people calling me and telling me that the radios and everybody's, you know, are you going to run the table? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? You know, I mean, are you kidding me? Are you really that screwed up that you think we're just some powerhouse that can do all that? We're a very good team, and there's a lot of very good teams out there. And never in my wildest dream was that a goal. Because you know, there's a reason it hasn't been done since what, 1976? Is that the way it is? There's a reason. It's not a goal because I think it's more unrealistic today than it ever was with these damn things. So, you know, it just had nothing to do with that. It's just we got to get better every day because we need to get a lot better. And we got to get everybody doing their job. To steal one from Belichick, we didn't do that last night, including the coach.
Do you think the team learned a lot from playing in such a hostile, you know, environment? it got really loud at times. And
Yeah, it did
through
get loud, but I mean, I don't know if that was any different than playing under the pressure of playing in Chicago at a game that the entire world was watching, and that place got loud too, you know, and difference, it wasn't all the opponents, but I think there was more pressure on that game at that time than there was on yesterday's, I really do. So I don't think that was it. You know, we were chugging along, guys. You know, I'm going to do something a little different here in a minute, and maybe I can show you.
When you were talking about the lack of ball movement yesterday with that, I mean, when you watched it back, was it more you guys or more them?
Oh, I mean, they did a nice job. They did a very good job, and they were, I thought, very well coached. I thought the double in the post was sort of effective. I mean, it got out of Nick's hands, but we had wide open looks. He passed it out of there all but one time, real nice. The ball movement was ours. The way they played defense and the way they made some shots, they deserve all the credit in the world. But the ball movement, or the lack thereof, the fast break, we got one fast break bucket, and that wasn't all them. That was a lot us not running hard. I mean, Miles got the 1 3-point play. That was it, and that hasn't happened all year. And I give them as much credit as I can give them, but I can't give them all the credit.
Cassius said that he noticed in the film there were places where he still could have gotten Nick the ball. How much was, because there's a chance that's going to become a blueprint for certain people on Nick, whether it works or not. But
yeah.
How much is there still room to get him involved?
Lots,
do that?
Lots. I mean, Josh missed him a lot. Cash missed him a little bit, but some other guys missed him a lot. So he was, you know, and some of it Nick, you know, didn't post well. We got a couple of wrinkles we're going to put in that we saw that we think we can really exploit if they do that. So we got enough shooters. If they want to double Nick, and I think Nick's in a real good play. Nick Ward was one of the bright spots yesterday, just by how he handled everything. Showed his maturity compared to maybe a month ago even. And I was very pleased with Nick. I was very pleased with Jaren. You know, I thought both those guys played very, very well. Other than that, I didn't think we had many guys that played near their capability. All right?
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, so.